Welcome back to yet another episode. It's so good to see you all again. I'm your friendly neighborhood coach Jose, and in this episode, we're going to address a common mistake beginners make. I came across this video the other day and I thought I should address this. Now, this could get spicy in the comments below, so I'm going to try and use my words very wisely. So the problem that I see is players taking their racket way behind them. Now, when you take your racket back, you move as a unit. So that's how you're supposed to move in tennis, and that's how you generate the most power and spin and control. When I see players do their unit turn and then take their racket back even further, that racket is now moving as a separate entity. It's no longer part of the unit. The unit turn stops here, where your racket stops as well. Now, the only time that your racket moves as a separate entity is when it drops. It doesn't go back. You move as a unit to turn, and then you drop and release as a whole unit. As soon as you start taking that racket back away from your unit, it's moving separately and you're then causing more strain on your shoulder. Let's grab the ball and I'll show you a very easy way. Now, if you've got a soccer ball at home, okay, or just netball, any basketball, any type of big ball, okay? What you want to do is you want to try and throw this ball with two hands, not with one hand. Now, what you want to do with this is you want to turn back and then try and throw the ball with as much juice as you possibly can. Give it a lot of oomph and see how fast you can get that ball to travel. This is very similar to how you swing forehand and backhand. Not exact, but it's very similar. When you hit forehand or backhand, you make sure you take your racket back. Now, you only take it back as far as your arms can both go together. You don't need to go extra behind you, okay? You just want to go straight back, okay, and straight forward through the ball, or straight forward so you can throw the ball with as much juice. If you take the ball back further, then you're going to have to release your non-dominant hand and then swing around before you throw. Now, that's where the difference is between a drive and a rotational hit. If you're driving, you'll notice you generate a lot more power and control to throw the ball exactly where you want to go. Now, if you take your arm further back behind you, you're going to find that you lose a lot of that control on where you want to try to get the ball with the same amount of power. Give this a try at home and see how the differences are, and then you can come back and let me know in the comments how it goes. Now, when you watch professional players, it may look like they're taking their racket way behind them and having a huge swing through the ball. Watch very closely and in slow motion. There's a clip, I'll try and add it to this video here. It's of Fernando Gonzalez, one of the biggest forehand players ever to play the game. I think he was most well known for his huge power on his forehand. And you take a look at how he turns. We're going to go through it. So if you look at it, he gets a huge unit turn, and you can see by how much he's turning his shoulders. By where his left arm and left shoulder is so far across his body that his chest is definitely facing towards the side fence. Now, when that chest is facing to the side fence, if you look at the right arm, it's still attached to the unit. It's not going way back behind him. It's staying to the back fence. And from there, it's dropping and releasing with the whole unit turn. The hip drive, you can see by how he loads up his legs before he hits. He's got a huge load with his hips and his legs. And that's how he generates all his power, by getting a big unit turn and then releasing all of that energy that is stored up into the ball. Let's take a look at a front on angle. Gonzalez, he has a huge leg and hip drive, so he loads up his legs very well. He gets right down low, his hips are turned, and when you turn your hips, your whole unit turns as one, just as so. So as I rotate to the side with my hips, I'm turning my whole unit and chest so it's facing the side. And when I turn like this, keeping my arms straight, it all goes to the side fence. Does that make sense? So we turn as a unit, okay? And when I turn slightly more like Gonzalez, I'm now facing to the back fence with my racket. I'm not moving my arm as a separate entity, okay? It stays as that unit. Now, When he gets through the ball, this is very important. When he gets the drive through the ball, the butt cap, so the bottom of the racket here, faces directly to the ball or to the other side of the court. Now, why is this important? This is important because you want to hit as a straight line through the ball. Okay, now, yes, there's going to be people out there that are going to correct me and say, oh, excuse me, I think we actually hit from low to high. Yes, you do. But when I'm saying that you hit in a straight line, I mean that your racket needs to move through the line of the ball. You do not want to swing across your body. Now, if you take that big swing behind you, the only way to hit is by rotating. That's how you're going to try and generate your power. Now, yes, tennis is a drive and rotational sport, but there's a limit to how much you rotate. When you do your swing, you only need to turn to the point of contact in front and stop your hips. You do not need to turn any extra. If you're turning any extra, that's called over rotation. Don't do that. Now, a little recap is we want to make sure that we move as a unit. So when you take your racket back, move as an entire unit. Don't let your arm move separately to the rest of your body. The only time it does that is when it drops, okay? Like the video I suggested with Fernando Gonzalez, that massive forehand that he had. If you like this video and you got something out of it, maybe share it with a friend too who you think could use this advice. Anyway, please like and subscribe so I can catch you in the next episode.